Hot off of the events from the previous two sets, Battle for Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch, comes Shadows over Innistrad, Magic the Gathering's 70th expansion. Released on April 8, 2016, the set takes the game's new Gatewatch story arc to, well, you guessed it, the gothic horror plane of Innistrad. When the game left Innistrad most recently, things seemed to be on the up and up, but how quickly things can change, as madness and stranger things seem to be afoot. How strange? Lovecraftian strange. Cosmic horror strange. Need to figure out exactly what is going on strange.
One of the things that's big in cosmic horror is mysteries. Like a big part of cosmic horror is you don't know what's going on.
That all said, let's dive into that with our story summary. Innistrad, a world that should be filled with hope and light after the return of its protector, the archangel Avacyn, is now anything but. Strange, alien occurrences have been happening across the plane. Werewolves, which had been turned docile from Avacyn's curse-mute spell, were becoming feral and more vicious. The hunger of the plane's vampires becoming more and more intense. New cults were forming, and strange, new, twisted stone monuments, called cryptoliths, are beginning to appear across the plane. But that is not all. Innistrad's angels are acting differently. In fact, rather than protecting the humans of the plane as they had always up until now, they are attacking them. Driven mad by some unknown source, the plane's angels now fly with blood-soaked wings. Even Avacyn isn't immune to the madness, as she somehow got it into her head that, since no human can be completely pure and immune to corruption, all humans should perish. But not all of the plane's angels have succumbed to the madness. One angel alone, Sigarda, somehow remained unaffected, and she continues her charge of protecting the plane's human population. It's in this new reality that Jace Beleren arrives on the plane, as he seeks counsel with Soren Markov, a vampiric planeswalker native to Innistrad. He's hoping they can work together to locate and, hopefully, eliminate the third and final of the Eldrazi Titans, Emrakul, as she has seemingly left from Zendikar. Unfortunately for the Mind Mage, he had no inkling as to where Soren might be at the moment. Thankfully, an acquaintance of his just happens to be on the plane as well at that time, Liliana Vess. He paid her a visit to ask for her assistance. Feeling jilted from their last encounter together when she traveled to Ravnica and attempted to ask him for help with her literal demons, only to have him depart instead with Gideon Jura to assist with the Eldrazi threat on Zendikar, she refused to help him in any way. He leaves Liliana in no better position than before, and decides to travel to Markov Manor, Soren's ancestral home. Upon arriving at the manor, however, Jace finds it in ruins. Not only that, it was somehow floating, much like the Hedrons on Zendikar do. The Mind Mage also begins to feel something isn't right, not just with the plane, but with himself, as he feels his mind slip just a little. He travels into the ruined mansion and discovers members of the Markov clan have been turned to stone and literally embedded into the mansion's walls and columns. He also discovers, in the hands of a dead man, a modest-sized tome. It's the Journal of Tamio, a Moonfolk scholar planeswalker from Kamigawa. He opens the journal and finds a trove of valuable information, including notes on the strange cryptoglyphs, the changes in Innistrad's werewolves, and more. The more he explored the manor and pored over the pages of Tamio's journal, however, the more his now slightly unstable mind would slip, providing him with hallucinations and vague visions. Somehow, he was able to find his way out of the mansion and back to relative sanity. Guided by the journal, Jace next made his way to the Nephalia Drownyard. There, he discovers a ring of aligned cryptoglyphs and a throng of toiling zombies. It then strikes the mind mage that all of the mysterious cryptoglyphs that have appeared across the plane were pointing here, to the Nephalia Drownyard, yet he knew not why. For all he can tell, his investigation had hit a dead end. Meanwhile, while Jace was both trying to track down Soren as well as figure out what exactly was going on in the world, the vampire planeswalker was traveling across the plane as well, visiting each of Innistrad's vampiric clans, asking for help. Specifically, he's seeking help with dealing with an old, vengeful friend of his, a lithomancer planeswalker from Zendikar, known as Nahiri. As it turns out, a century or more before, Nahiri was trying to reach out to Soren from Zendikar, asking for help with a major threat there. Soren, however, had cast a protection spell on Innistrad and, thus, wasn't able to notice Nahiri's calls. Furious at her friend for, from her perspective, ignoring her calls, the hot-tempered Nahiri traveled to the plane and attacked him. Avacyn, realizing the danger her creator was in, tried to intervene. She was not nearly powerful enough, however. As Nahiri was about to end the then-young archangel's life, Soren took the opportunity to seal the lithomancer into the Hell Vault, a magical stone prison. Fast forward to Innistrad's recent past, and we see Liliana Vest destroying the Hell Vault to gain access to one of her 4 contract-holding demons, Griselbrand. When Griselbrand was released, so was Avacyn, whom had been sucked into the Hell Vault along with a demon some years prior. So, too, was Nahiri. And she was pissed. The first thing she did was return home to Zendikar, only to find the plane in ruins from the rampaging Eldrazi. Infuriated, she traveled back to Innistrad. She laid waste to Soren Manor, then began forming the cryptoglyphs. For what ends, nobody knows but her. Soren, figuring out the destruction of his home and the slaying of his kin was the work of Nahiri, quickly deduced that whatever the lithomancer was up to was likely the source of the madness that had infected the plane. Getting back to Jace, he departs from the Drownyard and returns to Liliana. He accuses her of being the source of all of the madness and weirdness that has been going on as of late. The necromancer is able to largely escape the mind mage's mental tricks thanks to his hints of madness, as he lays the blame squarely on her. He blabs to her about the research he's read in Tamio's journal, of ghosts and some mysterious invisible moon. It's then that he realizes he's pointing the finger at the wrong person. Liliana has nothing to do with it at all. A bit embarrassed, he asks again for her to help him. Once again, he is denied. The Mind Mage then travels to the city of Thraben and visits the Church of Avacyn's main cathedral. He's hoping he can speak with Avacyn and find out more about why everybody seems to be going a bit mad. Instead, he encounters Tamio. Apparently, her latest research has led her to the cathedral as well. The Scholastic Planeswalker, upon seeing Jace's ragged and losing touch with reality state, tells Jace a story of the plane of Mirrodin. The breaking mind mage listens to her words. The story calms him, and, by the time it's complete, he feels his pending madness subside. His mind now clear once again, Tamio warns him about Avacyn and how he shouldn't be interfering with the happenings on Innistrad. Despite this, Jace presses on. Tamio decides to humor the mind mage, and she tethers her mind to his, to help him starve off any further slips of insanity before setting off to find Avacyn. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, Avacyn locates them instead, displeased about 2 planeswalkers being inside of her cathedral. Tamio attempts to speak with the archangel, but her attempts to reason with her fail and Avacyn goes on the offensive. Tamio uses one of her scrolls to cast a sleeping spell on the mad archangel. It works, but for nigh a moment, as Avacyn quickly wakes back up, even more annoyed than before. Avacyn attacks once more, spouting vitriol about impure beings on her world, and goes in for the kill on the Kamigawan planeswalker. Before she can strike, however, Sorin bursts into the room through the cathedral's stained glass ceiling. As her creator, the vampiric planeswalker demands that she comes with him. Hearing his voice partially clears her mind, and she realizes all of the violence she had been committing. She then turns to Sorin and blames him for allowing her to commit such atrocities. The two come to blows, and the fight continues down to the cathedral's basement, the very room in which Avacyn was created. Still refusing responsibility and refusing to be purified by her creator, she tells him that he can banish her if he wants, throwing the planeswalker's own words at him. Quote,
"What cannot be destroyed must be bound."
Sorin replies,
"But, Avacyn, you can be destroyed."
Using what little energy he has left at this point, and in anguish of having to do this to whom, essentially, is his daughter, he unmakes the Archangel. And that's where we'll leave the story of Shadows over Innistrad, though there'll be more to tell once we start to talk about its follow-up set, Eldritch Moon. As for Shadows over Innistrad itself, design was led by Mark Gottlieb, and development was headed up by Dave Humphreys. Jeremy Jarvis once again took up the set's art direction. It brought with it 297 cards, including 15 reprints, and features Graveyard Matters and typal themes.
One of the things about original Innistrad was there's a creature type theme. There are 4 monsters and then the victims, the humans. So the way it works is white-blue is spirits, blue-black is zombies, black-red is vampires, red-green is werewolves, and green-white is humans. It was there, you could draft it, you could build it, you could make a zombie deck, but it was less on rails than a lot of our sort of more creature-type oriented sets.
2 mechanics return in the set, Madness, which debuted in Torment in 2002, and Transform, which debuted in the original Innistrad block. To support the double-faced Transform cards, checklist cards with a standard Magic the Gathering card back were included in booster packs for those who play either without sleeves or with sleeves that have transparent backs. Shadows over Innistrad also introduced 3 new mechanics to the game. Delirium, which is an ability word that gives an advantageous effect whenever there are at least 4 card types amongst cards in your graveyard. Investigate, which puts a colorless clue token into play. Clue tokens have the rule text, 2 mana, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. And Skulk, an evasion ability that says a creature with the ability cannot be blocked by creatures with greater power. The set also features 8 card cycles. Most notable among those are Crazed Creatures at Common, all of which have an Enter the Battlefield ability that can also trigger each turn if their controller has Delirium. Vessels, 5 colored artifacts at Common that have an activated ability that involves sacrificing the artifact. Typal Lords at Uncommon that support each of the game's 5 main creature types, spirits, zombies, vampires, wolves and werewolves, and humans. Shadowlands, which are 5 allied colored dual lands at rare that enter the battlefield tapped unless you reveal from your hand a basic land that matches one of that land's 2 colors. And enemy colored tap lands at Uncommon that enter the battlefield, well, tapped. In terms of specific cards of note, Shadows over Innistrad boasts a number of them, including Anguished Unmaking, a flexible spot removal spell that saw much play in Standard, as well as occasionally still in other formats. Archangel Avacyn, a card which dominated Standard at the time, thanks to it protecting your creatures and being a good offensive and defensive creature, with flying on its default side as well as quite the beater with a small board wipe type ability on its transformed side. Arlen Cord, the Werewolf Planeswalker. The character was supposed to debut in card form in the original Innistrad block, but got pushed out in favor of the card Daruk Relentless. Cryptolith Rite, a rare enchantment that turns all of your creatures into 5-color mana dorks. Prize Amalgam, which is a key piece in dredge decks found in Modern and Vintage. It's even seen some play in Legacy. Rattle Chains, a spirit typal card that has seen notable play in Pioneer and Modern. Thalia's Lieutenant, a staple in white aggro decks based around the human creature type. The Gitrog Monster, a fan favorite legendary creature that is known for a number of strong combos in Commander. Thing in the Ice, a strong card that works well in spell-focused decks that can transform into a 7/8 Kraken horror creature that returns all non-horror creatures in play to their owner's hands. Thraben Inspector, a 1/2 for a single white mana that creates a clue token when it enters play. Tireless Tracker, a powerful value engine that has been used across a number of formats in competitive play. Triskaidekaphobia, an alternate lost card that concerns itself with the number 13. And Westville Abbey, a creature generation land that can be transformed into a 9/7 legendary demon creature with flying, lifelink, indestructible, and haste. One other card, well, technically a collection of the same card, worth mentioning is Tamio's Journal. There were multiple versions of the card printed, each with different flavor text that cite different entries in the journal. Keen-eyed players could notice that these different journal entries form a cryptic of sorts when paired with the set's clue tokens. I won't spoil what it is for those who want to discover it for themselves, but I will say it's a message that foreshadows a key plot point that will be unveiled in the ensuing set. As far as the set's promotional cards are concerned, the set continued the still used practice of any rare or mythic rare becoming a date-stamped foil found in a player's pre-release pack. The launch promo was an Angel of Deliverance. Game day participants received a full art Incorrigible Youths, with top 8 game day finishers receiving a foil full art Anguished Unmaking. The set's buy box promo was a foil alternate art Elusive Tormentor, a card that transforms into Insidious Mist.
Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad.
Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad was held in April of 2016 in Madrid, Spain, and marked the 100th Pro Tour in the game's history. In the end, American Steve Rubin, playing green-white tokens, bested Italian Magic World Cup champion Andrea Mengucci, whom was playing a Banned Company deck, 3-1.
I don't think he can win, and Steve Rubin takes the tournament down. He is your champion here at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. Congratulations to Rubin.
As for Shadows over Innistrad itself, here's what Magic the Gathering head designer Mark Rosewater had to say about the set overall.
We liked the cosmic horror on some level, in the sense that it allowed us to do something a little bit different. We had some themes that were different. I think the response we got from the audience was they wanted a little more sort of original Innistrad, that we had shot a little too far away. I mean, all the things that were popular in original Innistrad that we brought back, transforming double-face cards, all the monsters and stuff, all that was very popular. I mean, there were definitely people that enjoyed Delirium and Bad. I mean, there was a group of players that really did enjoy that. I think it was a fun package. Skulk did not go over quite as well as I had hoped. Anyway, all in all, I think Shadows of Innistrad went pretty well.
So what are your thoughts on Shadows over Innistrad? Were you a fan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Also, please remember to click on those like and subscribe buttons. There's even a Magic Untapped tip jar on Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. Thank you for watching.